Hello, it's Jay here and welcome to another tutorial. In this lesson we're going to make a start to create a flickering effect for our flashlight when the battery power runs low. So the first thing we need to do is to define two new public floats, and I'm just going to put mine here. So there'll be a type public float, and the first one is going to be max flicker speed. And I'm going to make this equal to 1f. We'll close the line off. Straight into the comment. So we'll say defines our max light flicker speed. And I'm sure you've guessed the next one's going to be exactly the same, apart from that we change max to min flicker speed. And this time we'll make it equal to 0.1f. We'll close the line off, and as always straight into the comments. So defines our min light flicker speed. Okay, now we have those two variables in place, we can actually go ahead and start to create the code that will add the flickering effect. And I'm going to come here after the void update and before the add battery, and I'm going to create a new function, and because we're going to be returning a value from this function, we can't use void, we need to use the IEnumerator function, and I'm just going to call this flashlight modifier. We'll open and close brackets, we'll open and we'll close again. Now I have this function in place, and before we start to flesh it out, I want to get the conditions into place as to when this will become enabled or disabled. And I'm going to come inside the void update, and I'm coming before we start to drain the battery and after we have our little fail safes, and this will become obvious at a later date once we've actually finished this little piece of code why I'm going to put it here. But let's go ahead and create the code first. So we'll say if open brackets our current battery power is less than 10, we'll close brackets, we'll open and we'll close. Then we want to start this function, so we'll come inside and we'll say start coroutine. We'll open and close brackets and we'll close the line off. We'll come inside the brackets, put the little quote marks, and we'll just copy and paste the name of that function into there. And we'll come straight into the comment, so we'll say if current battery power is less than 10, and we'll come to the next line. We'll say then we'll start the flashlight modifier function. And we'll come down here and we'll copy all of this into there, and this time we want to just change to greater than 10. And we'll change it into the comments, so it's greater than 10. So if the battery is less than 10, it's going to start flickering, but if we pick up a battery and it goes above 10, then we want to stop it flickering, so we need to stop the function. So this time we'll just call stop coroutine, and again we'll just change it in the comments there. And we have one last thing to do. We'll say if open brackets the current battery power, and we use double equals 0, and we'll close brackets, we'll open and we'll close again, and we'll come inside this function. We still want to stop the coroutine because there's no power left, so we don't want it flickering still if there's completely out of battery, so we can just copy that line straight. We also want to disable the flashlight, so we'll say underscore flashlight dot enabled is going to be equal to false, and we'll close the line off into the comment, and we'll say disable the flashlight, and then we're just going to say return. And we'll put this into comments to return. So why to put the return in there? If we save this script off, if you noticed when we were hitting 0 previously, we were getting a slightly screwed up value, and there was a reason for that. Here, when the battery power was less than 0, it was trying to reset it to 0, but it was also reading this bit of code and still trying to drain the battery, which is why we got a slightly screwed up amount. This will now fix that by adding the return statement. So if the current battery power equals 0 exactly, then it will no longer continue reading the rest of this function, i.e. where we're trying to drain, and it will just keep returning back here. So now we should get a perfect 0 value when the flashlight actually completely runs down. Now don't worry about this error, this will be fixed in part 2. It's only because we have no code in this function as yet, but we'll do that in the next part, and I hope to see you then, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and until then, as always, bye for now.